Hello, everyone. First of all, I will introduce Sunrise. For me, it was obvious, so it's not in the slide. But here I realized that now we are a tiny company. So Sunrise is the second telco player in Switzerland. And I'm working for Sunrise Business, and I will present you how was your strategy to move from telco to Techco. And basically, so this is a short introduction. Take a picture, but don't take so much time here. First of all, I will talk about the Sunrise methodology, what we have done to identify what was the best approach to provide Techco services for our customers. Then we arrive to a set of solutions, and we call that Sunrise Business Cloud for SMEs. We'll discuss about why. And finally, we'll talk about the Sunrise vision and probably what we learn in this small journey. Basically, to start, I like to quote my colleague Bogdan. First of all, we need to listen to our customers, and that's the only way. And to do that, we perform, first of all, a market analysis to understand if in Switzerland there is a market for that. And what does it mean in the cloud journey, in the IT world? Is it already full of players and there's no space for us? Secondly, we have performed a customer survey. And finally, we perform individual workshops with some customers. And what we learn is very interesting. First of all, we learn, and we knew that a bit, that the cloud market is something that is expanding a lot in Switzerland, and that we are at the early stage of this journey. We have nowadays quite no consumption from cloud services for SMEs. Basically, what they use are SaaS with Microsoft 365 or Salesforce, but in terms of infrastructure, they are not there for the moment. We know that in the world, between 10 to 15% of the workloads has been migrated to cloud. In Switzerland, is less than 8%, and for SMEs, it's even lower. So we are at the very beginning. That's why we have decided, according to the need of the market and according also to our customers, to focus on this group of companies between 20 to 250 employees. So we call that the SMEs market. And there are several reasons for that. The reason is in Switzerland, it's an SME market. Clearly, it's an SME market. At Sunrise, more than 92, 93% of our customers are also SMEs. And the large enterprise, because we have a lot of large enterprise in Switzerland, like Nestle, like PMI, like UBS, they already started their cloud journey, and they are surrounded by plenty of players. So that's why we have decided to work into this domain. And basically, we also look at what they are looking for, what they want, and they also mention when we perform these interviews that they really would like to migrate to the cloud in the future, maybe soon. And also that they would like to have a single point of contact because they don't have time to manage with plenty of stakeholders, and to have a single player that can provide connectivity and cloud would be great. So that's really the key things. There's also plenty of needs that we have identified here. I will just focus on the point 3 that is very, very important for the Swiss market, security. And that's why a lot of SMEs didn't start their cloud journey. They don't know how to start. So basically, they don't want to make any mistake. And that was really a break in their progression for the cloud. Also, we have also identified that there is clearly a need of resources. There is a lack of resources like everywhere. So all these topics push us to design a set of services. And basically, what we did, just because we did afterwards some individual workshops, and in these individual workshops, we have interviewed plenty of companies to understand their pain point, and we have identified some key players that can be the early adopters of this offer. At the end of the day, what we have identified the needs regarding three big pillars. One for infrastructure, so infrastructure, data, and applications. In infrastructure, we have decided to set up a cloud foundation. Basically, we will provide a solution where SMEs can start their cloud journey in a safe way, in a peaceful way, at their pace. That's very important. We also design a new product that will come at the end of the year. It's a bit confidential for the moment. The other one that will come very soon is AI generative dashboards, and you can imagine what we have behind because everything is based on AWS. And it's basically to help the SMEs to start their data journey. They don't know how to drive their business with data. They have nowadays plenty of heterogeneous application. What we will come, we'll provide a single place where we will gather all the data where they can interact with. And thanks to generative AI, we can provide some dashboard on the fly based on the question that they will ask. Flexible workplace, it's basically a VDI environment based on Amazon Workspace. I would like to highlight a bit more regarding the strategy in terms of cloud foundation. What we will provide is a safe environment by design, and safety is very important. I think not only for Swiss people, but in general. And we will also provide a way how to control and monitor the cloud cost. It's pretty basic, basically, when you have an AWS environment, but it's a blocker for SMEs. It's really a blocker for them because they are think that if I do something wrong, maybe I will pay 1,000 in a night. So that's very important that we tell them, no, we will help you, we will design an environment, and your cost will be monitored and controlled. The other part that is also very important is we will be your voice to AWS. So Sunrise Business will act as a bridge between the final customers and AWS. Why? Because when you are a small company in the mountain, close to the ski station of Gstaad or whatever, knocking at the door of AWS is not easy. First of all, you don't know. Sometimes you can have also the language barrier. So that's why it's not so easy. We will be the voice to AWS means that we will also map regarding the funding program. We will identify what project to start at first, in second, and then to create a sequence, basically. We'll provide advisory, and advisory means that we will help a customer to navigate in their cloud journey with the advice of experts. And if we don't have the answers, we'll connect them with AWS or with other partners. That's also a key point. So basically what we have learned from that is, first of all, we create solutions. That's very important. And what is a solution is a combination of a product and services. Basically, the customer wants to be helped in their cloud journey. They don't know if they need an S3 storage, if they need this type of tools. They don't understand. What they know is that they have some key problems in their daily life, in their business life, and they want to know how we can help them. So that's very important. Second topic, SMEs. It's really an untapped market for the moment. Why? Because it's complex. Because if you apply the same pattern that you have for large accounts, you will be totally overwhelmed. If you apply the same approach to connect with every customer, it creates some dedicated quotes all the time for all of this topic, you will be overwhelmed. So you need to rethink the way you work with SMEs. You need to provide some basic products, and then based on that, we will start a journey with them. Last point is powered by cloud. We are partnering with the leaders. That's why we are here, by the way. So the options of Sunrise is not to develop its own cloud capabilities. It's not possible. And that's why we have decided to build on top of AWS. And that's very important, and that's a part of the vision of Sunrise. The other point that also make very important is we want to be beyond connectivity. We are nowadays on a flat market. Basically, the market is based on connectivity and mobile plan. We need to reinvent ourselves. And that's why we are creating these cloud offers. And these cloud offers will become bigger and bigger in the future. And maybe this cloud offer will also generate more connectivity. Remember, we talk about workplace, Amazon Workspace, and this solution is super dependent on the connectivity. So maybe this type of services will provide more features, more solutions for the customer, but will also drive more connectivity for us. Finally, and that's also a key point, we want to use indirect channels. If we want to grow at scale, it's very important that we don't rely only on ourselves. First of all, the Techco journey is pretty new for us. So that's why we need also to rely on external partners. We have two types of partners. We've got some distributor model, that's partner that will take our solution and build on top. As I mentioned, Cloud Foundation, you provide the basics, the basement for your customer, but then when you have that, you need to create the whole IT landscape for the customer. So you need to migrate applications, you need to migrate database, you need to consolidate database, and then modernize and so on. Some partners can do that. And thanks to the Cloud Foundation, they will accelerate their go-to-market. The other part is the reseller model, and basically they will take our product and resell it directly. So that's a way for them to increase their turnover, and for us, it's also a way to increase our workforce, and that's very important. So what we learn also, as I told you, we want to be the bridge with the hyperscalers, and that's very, very important. I have a quote from Tammy. Hello, Tammy. And basically, you mentioned that it was very important to reduce the technical debt for SMEs, and that's the key driver for our offer. So we are at the beginning of the journey. We already identified roughly several dozens of early adopters, and I presume that I will have maybe more big and good news to tell you next year. But it's very promising. There is a lot of demand of the market, and we are all dedicated to this task with AWS, also with the support of AWS. So thanks a lot. I hope that it helps you to understand how we have identified how we can help the B2B market to expand thanks to AWS and thanks to the cloud. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you.